لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله بسم الله أبدأ كلامي وصلاتي وسلامي المضلل بالغمام محمد رسول الله بسم الله أبدأ كلامي وصلاتي وسلامي المضلل بالغمام محمد رسول الله إني قائل فاسمعوني إن أخطأت فاعدلوني يفنى كل ما في الكون ولا يبقى إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اتبع هداه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. Inshallah, tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, we will speak about the three types of hadith. أقسام الحديث الثلاثة. The three types of hadith, and I didn't mention الحديث الضعيف, because الحديث الضعيف is not hadith, and we will speak about it. الحديث الضعيف is hadith until we have proof is not hadith, it's completely fabricated hadith, and we're not going to speak about that in details, inshallah. But let us speak, inshallah, about الأحاديث الثلاثة أو ثلاث أقسام الحديث, three types of hadith. الحديث الصحيح, the authentic hadith, والحديث الحسن, the good hadith, والحديث الضعيف, the weak hadith. Tonight, inshallah. And الحديث الصحيح, the authentic hadith, there is also, we have two types of hadith صحيح. حديث صحيح لذاته وحديث صحيح لغيره. Hadith صحيح, the chain, the whole chain is authentic, and we're going to speak about this. But it's called لذاته itself. وحديث صحيح لغيره, hadith become authentic because if there is a similar of that hadith, similar to that hadith, it is authentic, and we call this hadith because that related to another hadith. But we gather, because we're not going to speak in details in this issue, we'll only speak about الحديث الصحيح. الحديث الصحيح هو الحديث المتصل سنده, the chain, it is connected chain. المتصل, this connected, سنده, a chain, and we're going to speak about this. بنقل العدل, بنقل العدل, and we will inshallah understand what the meaning of عدل. That means someone just and fair and authentic person brought this hadith or related the hadith or saying the hadith. الضابط, الضابط, that means the person completely accurate, 100% accurate. عن مثله إلى منتهاه, from the beginning of the narration to the end. من مثله عن أوله, أي أوله, from the beginning all the way to the end. ولا يكون شاذا ولا معللا. There is no defection or in the hadith. There is no defection. Let's understand the hadith word by word to understand what is the authentic hadith, inshallah. And also, let's give example to that also from Sahih Bukhari. Why we call Sahih Bukhari Sahih? Because the whole chain of narration, al-muttasil al-sanad, the chain is completely corrected chain, 100%. It is connected chain, connected and correct, connected and correct. Let's come to the meaning of the hadith. We say al-muttasil sanadu, يعني al-muttasil is connected, السند is the chain. يعني أن يكون الراوي سمعه عن راوي آخر، سمعه عن راوي آخر، سمعه عن راوي آخر إلى الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. Meaning المتصل السند, the chain of narration, the chain of narration, somebody hear it, that is تابع التابعي, that means fourth generation, to another, from تابعي to sahabi, to another sahabi, all the way to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the way to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That means he heard it, and he, this is muttasil, we talk only this word, al-muttasil, that means he heard it from him him from him, all the way to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. بنقل العدل الضابط. العدالة, what is العدل? In Arabic language we say al-adl is just or fair. But it's more than that. That means that person, he is truthful. And not only that, husn al-aqidah. His aqidah is correct. His tawheed is correct. And he's enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong. And we know about him these things. And we know about that person those things. So also, not only that, we said about that person, all this together, everybody witness about al-adl, al-adala in that person. For example, let's come to the adala. If the person, imagine this, eating sandwich in the street, eating sandwich in the street, that person, the people who narrate the hadith cannot take the hadith from that person. Why? Because to eat in the street, this is not kind of adala. Or there is not morals for the person just walking and eating in the street. Alright, الضبط. Meaning of ضبط, يعني كمان الملكية العقلية. That means that person, he can hear and he can relate what he hears. Exactly, accurate 100%. Exactly, and accurate 100%. In the same time, ضبط. That means that person is smart, and that person is intelligent, and he understands. Understand when he hears. For example, if Brother Abdul Razzaq, for example, I know him very well, we are very close friends. And then when he speaks, I know he's normal, he speaks normal. But I know when he gets angry sometimes, he can hurt. So I know when Abdul Razzaq is in a good mood and when he is in a bad mood. So when he is in a good mood, he's in a different situation, he can speak with wisdom, for example. But when he gets angry, with all my excuse, he can hurt. That means I know I can take the hadith from him only when he is in a good mood, not in a bad mood. But I have to understand when he is in a good mood or bad mood. That's called الضبط. يعني, and the meaning of الضبط, the person who is completely aware of what's going on around him. That's ضبط. And there is no defection in hadith. What do you mean defection? If I take the hadith from him as a tabi'i, and from him as a tabi'i, and there is one word different between the two from the hadith, one word different, but the meaning of the hadith is the same. We're not accepting that hadith as a hadith authentic or sahih. Even if one word different between his hadith and his hadith. Why? Because it's not the way the Prophet ﷺ say it. Even if one word. But can we consider that hadith as a hasan? Yes, and we will talk about that inshallah. Alright. Means shadh or mu'allal, there is defection. And we will, the defection act, and if one word different, or description. For example, you know hadith Jibreel alayhi salam, when he came to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, in Sahih al-Bukhari, when it's not hadith Jibreel, astaghfirullah, سبعة يظلهم الله تحت ظله يوم لا ظل إلا, 7 types of people, they under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Sahih al-Bukhari, he said he give the sadaqah in the left hand, and right hand doesn't know how much he give. But Sahih Muslim the opposite way. Sahih Muslim the opposite way. So which one is authentic? Which one is both is authentic? Because here the concept of the hadith the person give. The concept of the hadith the person only give. But that's why we consider that there is no defection in the hadith. Because not the defection, he gave the right on the left. Doesn't matter here. We will speak about this inshallah. الحديث المتواتر هو الحديث الصحيح. المتواتر. What is المتواتر؟ يعني متصل السند. meaning of متواتر يعني يرويه the person reported the hadith, impossible for that person to lie. Or a group of people reported the hadith, and impossible for this group, any person in this group to lie. Impossible. How we know? How we know? We know the people. We study. This means one of the قلت علم رجال الحديث. علم رجال الحديث. The biography of the people reported the hadith. We know everything when they born all the way until they die and what happened in their period of life, in this period of life. We know those people are not lying. That means everything they say is truthful. We say that hadith, يعني الحديث الذي يرويه جمع يستحيل عليهم الكذب. There is a group of people reported the hadith, impossible for those people to lie, period. That is hadith الصحيح, and I'm not going to go more than that إن شاء الله رب العالمين. الحديث الحسن, we said الحديث الصحيح is it mean الصحيح الذي كان عدلا ضابطا. عدلا, we said that person fair and just and understand the situation and very accurate. الحديث الحسن, the only different in حديث الحسن is instead عدلا ضابطا خفيف الضبط. خفيف, that means is not 100% he reported the hadith, but the meaning of the hadith 100% accurate. Meaning, remember the story here between Abdul Razzaq and Brother Fadi? I say both of them, they reported the hadith, both of them they are accurate in the hadith, both of them with no doubt. But when Abdul Razzaq reported the hadith, there is one word different than what Fadi said. Only one word, but the meaning of the hadith is accurate. We say that hadith is Hasan. We consider that hadith Hasan. So what is the hadith? How الحديث الذي اتصل السند, there is a chain of narration is exactly the same. All of them accurate, all of them good, with no doubt. Also بنقل العدل, that's mean that person is عدل as we mentioned, but خفيف الضبط. خفيف الضبط, that means it's not 100% he report the same word by word. It's not word by word, but one word different. But there is no defection. But there is absolutely no defection in the hadith. That means it's absolutely accurate. Just like the hadith we said in Sahih Muslim, some ulama they say, oh, the hadith in Sahih Muslim is Hasan, but this is not true. The hadith that they give is not true. Why is not true? Because the concept of it is giving, not which hand you give. It's not working.
It's causing me to lose the connection. The wireless connection here is not that good. So I'm just doing the sound.
Okay.
Not the
Alright, inshallah. Okay, brothers and sisters. So again, التعريف الحديث الحسن هو الحديث الذي اتصل سنده. It is the chain of narration is connected 100%. بنقل عدل. It is fair and just and that person is smart. But خفيف الضبط is not 100% accurate as we said. But there is no defection. There is no defection. That's the hadith. Of course, the ulama they divided the hadith حسن لذاته وحسن لغيره. حسن because that hadith is only one word different. And لذاته. But if لغيره because some other hadith make that hadith is حسن. Why? Because it is similar to that hadith is hadith sahih. For example, we go to that chain of narration. بقول علم الرجال. And we study each man or each person. By the way, it's not conditioned for the reporter to be a man. You will be very surprised, brothers and sisters. Very surprised. In Sahih Muslim, and Sahih Bukhari, and even Tirmidhi, and in Ibn Majah, and in Nisa, and all those, if there is a woman reported the hadith is accurate 100%. If the woman reported the hadith accurate 100%. You know hadith al-Dajjal? Hadith al-Dajjal is a Muslim. The whole hadith al-Dajjal is a woman reported the hadith. Imagine this, my dear brothers and sisters. So it's not when we say ilm al-rijal, that's the biography of men, as include the woman. Include the woman. That's mean, for example, in Arabic language, we said how many boys you have? How many? كم عندك من الأولاد? كم عندك? How many? أولاد being boys. But here the Arabic language does not mean how many boys male you have. When I say how many boys you have in Arabic language, that means how many kids total you have. That means I have 3 boys and 1 girl and so on. So in Arabic language, also the person that reported the hadith, he must understand the Arabic language. Must. There is no excuse. And what do when I say the Arabic language, must understand the Arabic language? What to say the grammar of the Arabic language, the situation of the Arabic language. For example, علم الناسخ والمنسوخ, my dear brothers and sisters. The abrogated and unabrogated hadith and ayat. There is ayat in the Quran is abrogated. We still recite it. For example, لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. Don't pray while you are drunk. Why? Until you can distinguish what you're saying. But this ayah is completely abrogated. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the khamr wal maisir, what is done? In they say, do not even be near the khamr wal maisir. Al khamr, the liquor. Not even near it. It's prohibited, that's it, it's done deal. But the ayah still, we recite this ayah until today. Let's take another example from the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he prohibit us to visit the graves. One hadith, do not visit the graves. But after that, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said in authentic hadith also, أَلَا إِنِّي, I prevent you, I stop you to visit the graves. أَلَا فَزُورُوهَا فَإِنَّهَا تُذَكِّرُكُمْ بِالْآخِرَةِ. Now, go and visit the graves. Because the graves will remind you to the hereafter. What is the difference between the first hadith, don't visit the grave, and the second hadith, go and visit the grave? The difference here, our aqidah, our tawheed is founded, is strong, is not like before. So my dear brothers and dear sisters, al-hadith al-hasan, say, there is is not the fiction, but some word change in the hadith, but still that is being, all of them is authentic with a good memorization. Now come to the hadith al-da'if, and that is the problem in ulum al-hadith with the hadith al-da'if. The hadith al-da'if is not hadith sahih, is not also hasan, and we know the condition for both, in between. Some ulama, there is two opinions between the scholars regarding this issue, but dear brothers and sisters. Some ulama, they say the hadith al-da'if, just discard it, leave it. We have enough hadith sahih and hasan to use. So don't use hadith sahih. Astaghfirullah, da'if. We don't need it. Some ulama, they said, no, we can use it in fada'il al-a'mal. What is fada'il al-a'mal? I want to encourage you to pray. I want to encourage you to do something. I give you hadith da'if, is fine. I give you hadith da'if, is fine. Of course, I said there is an ikhtilaf between the ulama regarding this. Imam Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala said, al-hadith al-da'if ahabba ilayya min al-qiyas. This is the weak hadith, better than to bring me qiyas, like comparing, we said the qiyas, what did we say the meaning of qiyas last time? No, there is another meaning for it. Analogy, jazakallah khair. Analogy. You know, make the analogy. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our ulama, they say the hadith al-da'if, because there is a lot of hadith sahiha and hasana, it will be covered the hadith al-da'if. But believe it or not, the hadith al-da'if, we have many types of hadith da'if. Many kinds. I choose here in my notes 10 of them, but in reality is more than 50 types. Which one we take, which one we discard, what we say. But, my dear brothers and sisters, the hadith, I choose the famous words, because sometimes we hear, oh, this is mursal. This hadith is mursal. What is mursal? Mursal, when there are tabi'i said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم so and so and so. Say صلى الله عليه وسلم. What does that mean? Said like Nafi'. Nafi' he is the student of whom? Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. Now Nafi' he learned from Ibn Umar. And now he is a teacher. He come to his student and he said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said so and so and so. We consider that hadith da'if. Why? Because where is the chain? The chain is important. The chain is important. So we call that hadith mursal. Some ulama they say the hadith المرسل يؤخذ به. Some ulama المرسل يؤخذ به. Why? Because العدل الضابط, the accurate and the just person and the truthful person, Nafi', he's the one reported. So it's impossible to say anything wrong about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But some ulama say no, he should bring the chain. Allahu a'lam. الحديث المرسل يؤخذ به. الحديث المرسل, if you say this is mursal, you take it in a matter of فضائل الأعمال and so on, inshallah. المنقطع, the one cut, there is a chain and one is missing or dropped. What does that mean? Now, let's take example before about al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala. Al-Bukhari. What is the condition? Why we say al-Bukhari is sahih? What do we say al-Bukhari is sahih? Now al-Bukhari, we consider Brother Abdul Faqqar he is al-Bukhari. In al-Bukhari, you hear that حدثنا or سمعت from so and so to so and so to so and so to so and so عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. So the first one, al-Bukhari, he heard it from this one, that this one, and he's accurate and ضبط and adl, he heard it from this one from, and all the way to the Prophet ﷺ. And all of them reported the hadith exactly the same. Exactly the same. See, that is hadith sahih. So what is the condition here? This one, al-Bukhari, he have to take it directly from this one, Abdul Razzaq. They have to know each other, they have to learn from each other. Abdul Razzaq have to take it from Fadi all the way to the Prophet ﷺ. And both of them, you teach it to him and so on. Muslims say no. If just Fadi heard it from Abdul Razzaq heard it from Fadi, and Abdul Faqqar heard it from Abdul Razzaq, that's good enough. Because you are accurate, you are trustable, that is Sahih Muslim. But both of them, they're Sahih here. We're talking about. But in this chain, between Abdul Razzaq and Fadi, there is someone missing there. Someone missing there. Or his name dropped for some reason. Or just to summarize the hadith, I drop his name. We call that hadith munqata'. Munqata'. That means cut off. That way we don't take. Why? Because we didn't know who gave it to Abdul Razzaq. Not Fadi. Someone else gave it to Abdul Razzaq. Even if both of them, they are trustable people. Both of them, they are accurate. But if there is someone missing, we have to know that person is. We call that is munqata'. Munqata'. There is also mu'addal. Mu'addal. We hear it a lot actually in Tirmidhi. Al-mu'addal, or the difficult one. And that hadith, when there is two people missing, not one. Two people missing, not one. But still we do not take in this hadith. And normally this, when the chain is long chain. When the chain is longer chain, just for the narrator to save the time, he dropped one or two. The ulama, they says, no, we don't take that one. That one is munqata'. That is, we cannot take it. Not even, especially in Aqidah and Tawheed. Especially in Aqidah and Tawheed. There is another hadith called Mudallas. Mudallas. And when you said, I think I heard it from Abdul Razzaq, for example. I think. The word I think, or a'taqid, or adhunnu, that hadith is not authentic hadith. It's da'if. There is no I think. No, I think. Or you said, I think I heard it this way. I heard, yes, Abdul Razzaq was a trustable person. We trust him very much. But Abdul Faqqar said, I think Abdul Razzaq said so and so and so. I think he said so and so and so. If we have doubt 1% with this hadith, we say mudallis, that means we don't take. That's da'if. That is da'if. Allahu a'lam. I'm not going to go through all this, inshallah, but you hear sometimes munkar al-hadith. when the narrator Munkar, when Abdul Razzaq saying some way and Fadi saying something and your son saying some way, everybody say the hadith different way. We don't take the hadith, they call it Munkar. Even if the meaning is the same. Sometimes I say something and you go home and you just report this to your wife in your style, in your way. In the ilm al-hadith, that is not right. You have to say it exactly the same way the Prophet ﷺ. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, his word is very small, very limited. Very limited. That's what the Sahaba did. But subhanallah, they have malakat al-hifz. Malakat al-hifz, the Sahaba, they can memorize it. Very simple and very easy. Khutbat Arafat. More than one Sahabi reported. Exactly the same. We're talking about khutbah, my dear brothers and sisters. If you want to read it in the way the Prophet ﷺ reading the khutbah, you take 10 minutes. 10 minutes just to read khutbah Arafat, al-Hajj. Khutbah al-Wada', the last khutbah of the Prophet ﷺ. Khutbah al-Wada', you need 10 minutes. And imagine, more than one Sahabi reported the same. This means they have this malaka, their talent to memorize. And subhanallah, how would the person memorize? Now we have, my dear brothers and sisters, a lot of attachment from the dunya in our lives. My work, my wife, my husband, my son, my daughter, my school, my this, my that. This kind of attachment from the dunya make us not concentrate in our memorization. But the person just dedicated all his life for this purpose, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you memorize. With the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you memorize. And easy for the person to memorize. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala alam, of course. Now, for ahadith al-da'ifa, we say that ahadith al-da'ifa, we should not even call it a hadith. But unfortunately, in any book of hadith, you'll find it called hadith da'if. Astaghfirullah, not da'if. Mawdu'a. The fabricated ahadith. The fabricated ahadith. But I want to speak about why we have fabricated ahadith. Why we have fabricated ahadith. All the ahadith, by the way, happened in the time of the fitna between Muawiyah and Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhumah. All those ahadith, the fabricated ahadith, happened and they started in the time of the fitna. So in the time of the fitna of Muawiyah and Ali, people start to interfere. And certain people, the same people they killed Umar ibn Khattab, and they killed Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, and they killed even Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. All of them the same style. So when there is a fitna between the Muslim community, there is always lies, rumors, slandering, and so on. So all the ahadith, the da'ifa, astaghfirullah, the mawdu'ah, the fabricated in the time of the fitna between the Muawiyah and Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. Also, there is a Zanadiqa. And the Zanadiqa, the group of the Zanadiqa, and those people actually, they, after Ali, astaghfirullah, after Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu passed away, died, got killed, those people they start to expose. They used to be in the time of Umar, but Umar was strong, tough. And Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he used to kill those people. The moment that person making the fabrication of the hadith, he's not like punish that person, punishment. No. Umar used to kill those people. Radiallahu ta'ala anhu. In the time of the Uthman, used to be fitna. And the Muslim world expand tremendously in the time of Uthman, of course. And those people start to expose themselves. They start, by the way, those people, they start in Baghdad, in Iraq, with all my respect. Alright. Then, another thing, one of the reasons we have a fabricated ahadith, my dear brothers and sisters, and this is really a problem, we still face it until today. When the person becomes so extreme in his school of thought, so extreme in his school of thought, or to his color, or to his nationality. You know, I am Arab and you have to listen to me. I am this and you have to listen to me. My rank is this and you have to listen to me. It is not true. This is not true. My dear brothers and my dear sisters, we have to understand one important thing. We follow what Allah said and the Prophet ﷺ said. Not my madhab said. Not my school of thought. What the Muslim Ummah in this kind of trouble is this kind of fighting for the school of thought. Another thing, my dear brothers and sisters, people, they use this kind of ahadith sometimes for fadail a'mal. When I give you an advice, and I want you just to feel it. So I can fabricate hadith just to make you feel it. Let's take example. Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. One of the great of the tabi'een. Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in. And not only great of the tabi'een, they are great of the ilm al-hadith. They visit a masjid in Rasafa, also in Baghdad, in Iraq. And after salah, and they sit in the back, no one knows them in that area. And there is a person start to say a hadith. And I have the hadith here. I wrote it down for you. And he start to preach. This man, he start to preach. And what he's saying, so remember, I say Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in in the masjid. And not everybody know them. So this man, he said, حدثنا عبد الرزاق حدثنا أحمد بن حنبل عن يحيى بن معين عن عبد الرزاق, and he started to report hadith, and he said that I heard it from Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in, and he said من قال لا إله إلا الله, whoever say لا إله إلا الله خلق الله سبحانه وتعالى طيرا. Allah will create a bird. The bird, he have a peak of gold, and feathers of marjan like corals, and they start to mention hadith, very strange hadith. So Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he asked Yahya ibn Ma'in, have you said this hadith? I said, no, I never heard about it. And Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, I never heard about it. And they went to the man to ask him, and he said, who told you this hadith? And I say, who told you? I heard it from Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in. And Ahmad ibn Hanbal says, I am Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Yahya ibn Ma'in said, I am Yahya ibn Ma'in. And he said, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create only you, Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in. I know 20 of Ahmad ibn Hanbal and Yahya ibn Ma'in. I know 20 of them. So people try, my dear brothers and sisters, create the hadith just to convince the people to do good. Maybe their intention is good. But subhanallah, as I told you,
How can you deny the oneness of Allah? Allahu Akbar. How can you deny the oneness of Allah? Allahu Akbar. How can you deny the oneness of Allah? Allahu Akbar. How can you deny the oneness of Allah? Allahu Akbar.